And get ready for some valley showers, mountain snow, and some chilly conditions with the first storm passing through, because we actually have 3 storms that we're watching. I've got the details coming up in my forecast. News 10 Midday is next. Absolutely, Dan. You know, I call these type of fires kind of weather driven, because without the winds, it wouldn't even be half as critical as it is right now. And it's all thanks to that center of low pressure that we've been tracking, bringing us valley showers. And let me explain to you exactly what's going on. Let's go ahead and take this full, because we have this low that's now diving just right off the northwest, and the front is beginning to approach. Ahead of that front, we are getting prefrontal winds, and they are strong. We've already started to see gusts in the Sierra up to about 56 miles an hour around Tahoe. Now, Reno is positioned on the leeward side of the mountain range. When those winds go down, they become a downsloping wind, and they start to pick up even more speed. So they're gusting to about 70 to 80 miles an hour around Reno. They're under a high wind warning right now, and that's going to continue until about 4 p.m. this evening. As that front begins to approach, winds are going to get even stronger. Around 5 this morning, we talked to Chris Larson, one of the chief meteorologists in the Reno area. He said they did register a wind speed there of around 70 miles an hour. That was at 5 this morning. So it's likely, as that front begins to approach this afternoon, winds are going to get even stronger. 80 miles per hour clearly possible where that fire is burning as we continue over the next couple of hours. Now, in addition to that as well, very dry air mass overhead. So this low is continuing to stay a little bit further north than previously anticipated. Because of that, less moisture is starting to track towards us. Here in the Sacramento Valley, we're expecting maybe a 1/10 of an inch of rain, maybe about a 1/2 foot of snow possible in the Sierra. On the leeward side of the mountain, they're going to get even less, because the west slopes of the Sierra will help squeeze a lot of that moisture out of the atmosphere, so even less energy is going to make its way over to the backside. So Reno is in a very unfortunate situation. They're talking about strong winds and lack of moisture to help gain control of that fire. So let's keep our fingers crossed and think of our friends and our families and those we know in that area, as it is a very unfortunate situation currently. As far as here at home, winds right now, sustained winds into the teens for Sacramento around Marysville. We do have gusts up to about 20 miles an hour here in Sacramento. As mentioned, Tahoe, wind gusts up to about 56 miles an hour. Last registered gust about a half hour ago. Right now, these are sustained winds at 26 miles an hour. Look at our tower cam shot here out in Sacramento. You can see it jogging just a bit here as those winds are starting to pick up here at home. Over the sky here, we're looking pretty clear, but we do have a little bit of cloud cover starting to make its way in. Still getting those patches of sunshine. You may get some light scattered precipitation throughout the day today, but the best bet's going to be later this afternoon up into the evening. But as mentioned, that low is staying a little bit further north, so we may be getting some light rainfall around Marysville into Sacramento. Stockton, Modesto, even a lesser chance. You're getting a little more sunshine, and temperatures will likely be in the low 60s today. Further north here, as we get a little more cool air mass, our temperatures will be just slightly cooler, but we're already starting to be warmer than previously anticipated earlier this morning, because we thought that cool air was going to settle overhead a little bit sooner than it is. And as mentioned, that low is starting to slow, and it's remaining a little further north. So right now, 42 degrees for Tahoe, and out towards the Bay, 56. Here's a look at your forecast ahead for the region. We'll be in the mid 50s around the Bay, upper 50s to low 60s for the valleys, the upper 40s for the foothills, and low 40s for the Sierra. A little bit of rain, a little bit of snow, but some bad winter driving conditions in the Sierra. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. Dan? Well, it took less than a day of deliberations to convict a mother in the deaths of her 4 children. Now, Shatara James was convicted of involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment. Prosecutors had sought second-degree murder charges against James. Investigators said that the fire that killed her 3 children and a niece actually started with candles left burning in her Fairfield apartment. Now, James admitted to being outside in the parking lot at the time, but says that she was only away from the children for just a few minutes. However, prosecution witnesses say that she was outside for 20 minutes.
I'm very disappointed, but I'm not surprised. Mostly I was thinking, how would I feel if this was the result, and I feel sad.
I am happy with the verdict. I think the jury did an excellent job. They worked hard and they understood the evidence, and I'm very happy with the verdict.
Very difficult, especially for those of us who have kids. So
Pretty hard, huh?
Yes, it was very hard. So I'm just thankful I can go home to my family and get rid of every candle in my house and move on.
James's defense attorneys claimed that she suffered from frontal lobe syndrome, causing a disconnect between actions and consequences. All right, thank you, Dan. Well, News 10 wants to help you survive the economy, and in today's Who's Hiring, it's T-Mobile in Sacramento. They're actually hiring a retail sales associate. Retail or customer service experience is required, along with a high school diploma or GED. And for more information on this and other job openings, all you have to do is go to news10.net and click on News, then just scroll down to Who's Hiring. And Dan, you know, whether or not to even breastfeed is always a debate, but what about selling breast milk? Is it ethical? Are there health risks? We'll actually take a look at that debate coming up. You're watching News 10 Midday. Well, nowadays, if you Google it, you can actually find it. Breast milk for sale, an entire website dedicated to what has become a breast milk boom. Some call it liquid gold. And on the open market, mothers are willing to shell out big bucks to give their baby the best. Christina Mendonza reports. Now, Christina also found out that many mothers are facing a challenge in finding screened breast milk, and that's because most milk bank donations go directly to hospitals. The State Department of Public Health tells us that they do not recommend purchasing breast milk online. Instead, they say go through a licensed milk bank that screens and often pasteurizes that milk. And if you can, join us for a live chat about buying, selling, and donating breast milk. That starts right after midday at 11:30 on our Facebook page. We would love it if you would join in. I know SPCA wants to find a loving home for today's midday tail wagger. Coming up, you'll get to meet Benedict. Oh, Benedict is such a cute. Look at that little face. Well, more on Benedict and your weather coming back. Not as much as previously thought, but still expecting about 6 inches right around pass level when all is said and done tonight. Center of low pressure is starting to move in. We're getting a front approaching. The big news right now is windy conditions. Gust about 56 around Tahoe, 22-mile-per-hour wind gusts here in the valley right now. Still looking at a mix of sun and clouds over Sacramento, but you can see green coming back here on our Doppler, and that's an indication we're starting to get a little bit of moisture overhead. So you could be seeing some light scattered precipitation in the next hour or so over the valleys. We have had freezing fog around Blue Canyon ever since this morning. Not a lot in the way of snow flying at the moment across the Sierra, but nonetheless, with fog and freezing rain, you can expect some rather slick road conditions already. And with those winds on top of that, things are already getting dicey. As soon as that system really starts to make its way through, then you're going to add snow on top. If you can avoid traveling over 80 and 50 today, that's your best bet. Wait until tomorrow. We're expecting a nice break ahead of the second system making its way in. Yes, second, because we're talking 3 storms. As far as for the winter weather advisory, still in place up until about midnight. As mentioned, 6 inches around 5,000 feet. We could see a couple inches down to about 3,000 feet, but that's pretty much as low as we're expecting that snow level to go in the west slopes. That center of low pressure is positioned a little bit further north, so that cold air is just not going to settle as low as we thought it would. But as expected, we will be seeing that snow flying across the Sierra up until about midnight, then starting to clear out a bit all the way into the early morning hours on Saturday. We will see hit and miss snowfall throughout the Sierra, on and off throughout the weekend. Looking nice and dry, though, here in the valley for Saturday, and that snow will lighten just a bit across 80 and 50. So if you do need a window to get over the Sierra for this weekend, Saturday afternoon is good. Next system's going to come in late Saturday into Sunday, likely hugging the coast here. Rain showers really expected along the coastal mountains. Little hit and miss cloud cover here for the valleys. We could get a little more precipitation across the Sierra at that point, but as mentioned, a little bit later on in the day will be another window to get over the mountains for your Sunday. So I'll show that for you again on the extended forecast. But in regards to today, though, we'll be in the mid to upper 50s, so a little bit below normal. Some areas already hitting the low 60s because we're getting a little more sunshine than previously expected. Out towards the bay, we'll be in the low to mid 50s. Little hit and miss showers too, so kind of a mixed bag of weather expected today. The big impact, though, will be cooler temperatures, dropping into the 30s overnight tonight. Mid to upper 30s as that cool air settles in behind that approaching front. Down in the San Joaquin Valley, we can actually bump up these daytime highs in the low 60s for most locations because, as mentioned, a little more sunshine, but nighttime temperatures will also be in the 30s and 40s. We may be near freezing around Sonora tonight. West slopes of the Sierra coming into the 40s today with a high of 41 expected for Tahoe. We're talking windy conditions, snow coming, blowing snow an issue. Teens between Truckee and Tahoe overnight with the 20s and 30s along the west slopes. So here's a quick close-up of that extended forecast. Good travel times will be Saturday. Also coming in late Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, good time to get up and over the Sierra. Then the third system starts to push on in as we head into your Thanksgiving holiday. That Wednesday, we're looking at potentially some more rain and some more snow. So